sideways at him and maybe clicking their tongues at his presence. Eh dear, what was his wife thinking of? He hadn't cared about his dignity, or the fact that although they might not yet know he was the new doctor, come to work in Dr. Ingleby's practice, they would recognise him soon enough. Isabel reached out and touched Philip's hand. "That was very clever of you," she said. His lean face softened. "You only need to put it in the oven," he said. "I brought the potatoes with us," said Isabel. "And those carrots, they're a bit old, but I cut out the worst bits." They had been children of wartime, and all they asked of food was that it should fill them. Isabel was a poor cook. Fortunately, Philip's mother was no better, and after years of national service and medical school, he was hardened. He never complained, and he was as proud as Isabel when she brought her watery stews and dense cakes to the table. They had been married for 2 months. This was their first home together, after an 8-week eternity of living with Philip's parents in their narrow house, where bed springs cracked like whips, and the flush of the lavatory was the bellow of a caged water dragon. His parents wanted Isabel to call them mother and father, as if she and Philip were still children and siblings. But they were grown-ups. Philip had his first job. Isabel would set up home. "I'll be working all the hours God sends," Philip had warned her. Footsteps crossed the floor above their heads. Slow, heavy, deliberate. All the way to the window they went, and all the way back. The landlady. Philip knew her because he had handled the negotiations for the flat. The rent was too high, but with the housing shortage, it was what you had to expect. Isabel had only glimpsed Mrs. Atkinson's ponderous back view, clad in a grey working pinafore, disappearing upstairs. That was her idea of welcome, evidently. Their flat was on the ground floor, with a sitting room that looked over the road, a bedroom at the back, and off the bedroom, a poky kitchen with a wooden-lidded bath taking up most of the space. There was a cloakroom in the hall. You had to go out of the flat each time you wanted what the landlady called the facilities. "The facilities are shared," she'd told Philip grimly. "No personal effects are to be left there." "I don't see why there aren't any other tenants," Philip told Isabel. "She doesn't want me to hang up my knickers in there." The hall was dankly cold. "How am I going to live here?" Isabel asked herself, and her thoughts plummeted, as they sometimes did until everything was dark. She fumbled with the lights, fumbled with the cistern chain, and had to yank it down twice before it would flush. She thought of herself going in and out at bedtime, with a sponge bag containing her toothbrush and a flannel. The landlady was still walking overhead, back and forth. Isabel shivered. "I can't live here," she almost said to Philip as she came back into the flat. But he was building up the fire, and he glanced up at her with such a smile, a naked smile full of hope and doubt, that she said, "I'm going to make new covers for the chairs. I can buy material in the market. That'll cheer the place up." Their bed was vast. They lay still between hummocks of ticking-covered mattress. The iron springs settled beneath them, and there was a faint smell, not unpleasant, just old, Isabel thought. Old polish, old furniture, old dust, and all those many, many nights that other people had slept on this bed. Who were they? Did they lie awake entwined, whispering, laughing? Or did they sleep coldly, each one irritated by the sounds the other made? If she were at home, she would have dragged the mattress out onto the lawn, slung it over chairs and then beaten it until the dust flew and the sweetness of the air got into it. She could remember her mother doing that. But home had ended when Isabel was 8, and she went to live with her aunt and uncle because her parents were going out to Singapore. Her father worked for the MacPhail Rubber Company. As soon as they were settled, her mother said, Isabel would be coming out to join